How to be the most confident person in the room in 3 steps. This is absolutely one of my favorite topics. My mentor, Dr. Jason Selk, tells us that confidence is the number one variable in human performance. That's how important it is. And what I'll share with you today is based on 20 plus years of research and practice, learning from some of the top minds in sports psychology, performance psychology, also from some of the top performers in the world in the areas of sport, business, and the military. Now, I personally have applied these things for years, and I feel like I am the most confident I have ever been in my life because I relentlessly and religiously apply these three principles I'm about to share. There'll be some very actionable items as well in this video. Let's jump in. This for many of you, this will be one of the most important videos you'll ever watch or podcasts that you'll listen to. There'll be something in here that will most likely change your life, as it did for me. Okay, 3 keys to self-confidence, our 3 pillars. Number one, be your own best friend and positive coach. Let me tell you what I mean by this and give you some actionable tips here. Number one, learn to witness your thoughts and observe your thoughts. Be an observer of your thoughts. Learn to pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Number two, use positive affirmations and mantras. I call these power tools. These are short 2 to 5 word mantras or affirmations that remind you to think at the highest level. Think in a way that improves your confidence and performance. Number three, remove limiting beliefs that you have, beliefs that are holding you back. You can think about a limiting belief as something that forces us to drive around with our emergency brakes on through life. Number four, give your negative voice a name. Okay, you can name your negative voice, that voice in your head that puts yourself down and puts limits on yourself. Number five, keep a relentless solution focus. Focus on what you can control and not what you can't. So keep a relentless solution focus. Focus on solutions, not problems. And next, focus on what you can control, not what you can't. That gives you confidence when you focus on what you can control. Next, remind yourself every day of your strengths and things that you've done well. Remind yourself of your strengths and things you've done well. And lastly, visualize yourself performing at your best and achieving your goals. Use your imagination to see yourself performing at your best and achieving your goals. Here's a quote from Dr. Michael Gervais, a top performance psychologist. Confidence comes from one place and one place only: what you say to yourself. It's that simple. At any given point in time, we are having a conversation or dialogue with ourselves. You are either speaking in a way that is building confidence or destroying confidence. Being aware and mindful of your inner dialogue is really at the center of being able to grow and pursue potential. It is a skill we can develop. We can guide our mind towards those conversations that build. Here's a quote from Greg Harden, another top performance psychologist. He coached Tom Brady and Michael Phelps, among many other athletes and executives. Greg says, I want you to become the best friend you ever had in life because your best friend has to be you. Here's a quote from Conor McGregor, former UFC two-weight world champion. You're going to feel something, so why not feel like a world champion? Here's a quote from Dr. Shad Helmstetter. He wrote a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Shad says, positive self-talk is the language of success. Next, here's a quote from Michael Sarah, top performance coach out of the UK. I decided to live a life free of insecurities and limiting beliefs. Here's a quote from Dre Baldwin, another expert on performance. Your confidence level determines your life. Your level of achievement in life will always be equal to your level of belief. Another quote from Dre Baldwin. Your life will be a direct reflection of how you talk to yourself. Whenever you meet someone and wonder how they got to where they are, it is a direct reflection of the conversation they have with themselves all day, every day. Your life is a direct reflection of the conversation you have with yourself every day. So let's talk about some action steps here now. 2 key action steps to take action on pillar one: be your own best friend and positive coach. Number one, start to pay attention to how you talk to yourself and identify and remove limiting beliefs. And number two, write down 3 things you did well every day and write down your top 10 greatest hits, your proudest life accomplishments. I learned the first one from Dr. Jason Selk. Every day, write down 3 things you did well from the previous 24 hours. And also take the time to write down your top 10 proudest life accomplishments and review them. That's from Dr. Nate Zinsser, performance psychologist at West Point, the U.S. Military Army Academy. Here's some books for your confidence power library. Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk, Learned Excellence by Dr. Eric Potterat, The Confident Mind by Dr. Nate Zinsser, and The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. Pillar number 2, principle number 2, become a 1% warrior. Get 1% better than yesterday. Here's what I mean by that. Learn one new thing each day. Get your number one most important task done each day. That's the second thing. The third thing, do one hard thing you don't want to do. And number 4, act as if. Act as if you're the most confident person you know. Here's some thoughts from some experts on performance. Dr. Jason Selk, I believe he's the number 1 expert in the world on performance. He says you must attack not the result, but more the process. This question is important. I had success. It could be your love life, your golf game, your business, etc. Just learn to ask yourself this question. What's the single most important thing I did to cause that success? If it's your golf game, maybe you practiced in the basement for 15 minutes. If it's business, maybe you made 3 proactive contacts every day. If it's your love life, maybe you started taking your spouse out on a date once a week. Whatever that one thing is, that's what you have to attack. Keep attacking the one thing that caused the most success. Here's a quote from Darren Hardy. He wrote a book called The Compound Effect. The compound effect is a strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions. Small choices plus consistency plus time equals significant results. Okay, here's a quote from Sunil Gupta. He says, there are 2 types of people in this world. There are those who play the game of someday, and those who play the game of now. Okay, here's a quote from John Maxwell. What is the key to being successful? What separates people who achieve much from those who merely get by? It's what they do every day. The secret to your success can be found in your daily agenda. People who achieve their potential do so because they invest in themselves every day. They take the time to add value to themselves. Because they do, they are also able to add value to others. Here's your 3 key action steps. Pick any one of these or all 3. I suggest start with the one you think you need to do the most. And after you get good at that, add the second, then the third. Number 1 is identify the one thing you've been avoiding doing the most each day and do that. I call that making the heroic choice. Number 2, identify your one most important task each day and complete it. This will build confidence over time. Right? All 3 of these things will. And number 3, spend 5 to 15 minutes a day learning something new, personally and professionally, from the best in the world in a way that makes you better. Okay, here's our confidence power library. We've got for this tool, this principle, Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk, Learned Excellence by Dr. Eric Potterat, the Success Principles Workbook by Jack Canfield, and the Success Principles book by Jack Canfield. Principle number 3, surround yourself with confident, positive people who believe in you and also give you honest and direct feedback. Okay. Attitudes are contagious. You become who you surround yourself with most. Number 2, spend time with people who celebrate your successes and who believe in you. And number 3, direct and honest feedback is a gift. You want that direct and honest feedback on what you can do to improve. Here's a quote from Jim Rohn. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Here's a quote from Jeff Olson, author of The Slight Edge. Your income will tend to be the average of your 10 best friends' incomes. Do you know why birds of a feather flock together? Because they're all going in the same direction. They share a common vision. It's called the law of association. It's a law because it always works. Here's a quote from Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, one of the top experts in the world on leadership. I always have a question. Is my life better off or worse off because I met this person? Here's a quote from Gunnar Peterson, one of the top personal trainers in the United States. I like motivated people. They are the people I try to surround myself with. Show me the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and I will show you who you are. Here's a quote from Charlie Munger. He was a former vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's business partner. Work with and under people you admire and avoid the inverse when at all possible. Here's your action step. I want you to write down the 20 people you spend the most time with. I want you to identify the people who drain your confidence and energy, and I want you to address them and or minimize and eliminate time spent with them. Okay, next, I want you to identify the 4 or 5 people who are most confident and who challenge you to be your best and who believe in you. And I want you to thank them and spend the most time with them. And here are 3 books from our Confidence Power Library: Learned Excellence by Dr. Eric Potterat, The Success Principles Workbook by Jack Canfield, and The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So my challenge to you is identify out of these 3 principles one action step you want to take on a regular basis. Okay. From the second pillar, in terms of getting 1% better than yesterday, I want you to do the exercise for pillar 3. Write down the 20 people you spend the most time with, identify those who bring you confidence, thank them and spend more time with them. And then from the first pillar, I want you to identify your limiting beliefs and negative self-talk and remove them. And I want you to write down every day 3 things you did well. Okay. You do these things, it will change your life. I want you to be the most confident and best version of yourself, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Confidence is contagious. We want to be around people who are confident because they elevate us and others. I wish you an elevated life of success, happiness, and positive impact.